Remi Piet is with the consulting firm America's Market Intelligence. He's a senior director who works on analyzing infrastructure in Latin America. He joins us now from Miami. So, Remi, let's start with Brazil, as we just saw there. President Jair Bolsonaro, will we continue to see more Chinese investment now that he's been in office for quite some time now?
Well, that's actually something very interesting indeed. I mean, Jair Bolsonaro has been known for his anti-Chinese rhetoric, very much in line with the President Trump in the US. But right now we're looking at an infrastructure project in the north of the country, in the state of Maranhão, which is one of the very few states that has remained in the hands of the left wing of politics. Flávio Dino, the governor of Maranhão, is a member of the Partido Comunista de Brasil, so therefore the opposition in Brazil, and that is obviously a strong supporter of more Chinese investment in Maranhão, especially for a project that is, quantified as $425 million of investment, 4,000 jobs that could be created through this port. So it's a very interesting project for the state of Maranhão that has been known for its very low level of unemployment, need for infrastructure, and potential for agribusiness, soybeans, corn, meat that could be exported to China. It also raises a series of concerns on the environmental front and on issues of communities living in the areas, and we have right now a series of opposition and demonstration against the project for the last year.
Well, how do you see a Latin American Silk Road? What comes to your mind? With this region so important to China, President Xi Jinping planning to go to the region next month for both the APEC summit in Chile and BRICS in Brazil.
I mean, there's a clear proof that there's joint interest between China and Latin America. Latin America is a continent that has very strong resources and interest for China in terms of natural resources, mining resources, energy resources, also the capacity to export, agricultural goods, farming goods, especially at a time where you have tensions on trade issues between the US and China. Latin America is a very interesting partner for Beijing. On the other hand, the weakness of Latin America is its lack of infrastructure all around the continent. You do have some countries that are doing fairly better over the last few years, such as Colombia, to a certain extent Mexico also, but the rest of the countries in the region are welcoming with open arms Chinese investment. The key issue here still, and that's the case for CCCC, the Chinese company investing right now in Maranhão, is to understand the complexity of local politics, the resistance from social forces and economic and political forces locally to projects, and therefore carry on sound due diligence with the right partners on the ground. But if they do so, and if they actually invest wisely with the right policies and risk mitigation procedure, then there's a very strong potential when you look at Latin America for Beijing and other Chinese companies.
Well, we do know that China is the largest trading partner for many countries in that region. And how important are these relationships given the current global economic conditions? And you mentioned a couple of countries there, the flat or slow growth in some of these countries. You see what's happening in Ecuador and Peru with some of the protests there. What do you make of this whole mix here?
Well, what's very interesting is really to analyze country per country, because you do have a series of different dynamics in Latin America. The situation of Ecuador, for example, that has been traditionally the strongest ally of China in Latin America, is different from other countries since they're actually more drifting towards the IMF and a series of reforms that were demanded by the IMF, and therefore trying to maybe not only have China as a partner and opening itself to other powers from whether European or North American, but the vast majority of countries in Latin America actually have been fairly disappointed by the Trump administration. The incapacity of the US to actually look beyond populist rhetoric and domestic interest in terms of politics to actually really invest in Latin America. And there's strong potential, therefore, as a result, in countries that usually did not deal strongly with China. Argentina, obviously, and Bolivia are facing elections in the next month, and they have been traditional partners of China. But other key countries, especially Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Chile, could actually be a very strong allies of China, and with strong potential for joint investment and development of infrastructure that are in dire needs across the continent today.
Remi Piet with America's Market Intelligence. Thanks so much for joining us from Miami.
My pleasure, Elaine.